Oh dear, I have tried so many times to record this video. I'm having technical difficulties. I'm expecting the mic to cut out at any point. Apologies in advance, of course. Not that you'd ever know, because I just wouldn't upload it. I would just have to try and record it for a 7th time. But anyway, this is the next in the series, talking about Sebastien Haller today. Thanks for everyone that's got involved as well, by the way. Some really good debates, some really good opinions, some things I hadn't thought of on certain players, indeed. And maybe a couple of comments that might have me changing my mind. But it's quite clear, even the ones that you think are clear-cut, like Antonio, him staying, there's been some really good arguments, people coming back and saying, well, you know, hold on, he's only got a year left and he's, you know, his age and the rest of it. Do we give a 30-year-old with a poor injury record a 4-year contract? Just some really, really good comments on this. So thanks for everybody for interacting, getting involved and well, not just replying to me, but interacting and talking with each other. Just, there've been a couple of comments on the videos where people are saying, why are you even discussing Antonio leaving? So I'll just say now, because there are a couple of people that keep saying that. The premise of these videos in this series is to look at each player in the squad individually, work out what's changed since Pellegrini was here. Will they remain at West Ham? Will they feature for David Moyes? Are they going to stay within the squad? Are we going to be looking to move them on? It's done for every player. I'm not singling out a player, and I certainly wasn't saying Mikel Antonio should leave, as you will see if you watch the whole video. So anyway, so thanks for everybody, the 99.9% who have watched it and got obviously what was going on. But obviously today's is about Sebastien Haller, and I think it's a massive, it really is. Possibly the most important one, or Declan Rice, but he's our record signing. And it's in a problem position. And it's something that, it's a bit of a sticky topic. It's a bit of an odd one, really, because whatever happens, a tough decision is going to have to be made. Before I go into that, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. The link is in the description below. The logo's up somewhere. New logo, fancy logo. It's a great app. You can get all your football news, all your Premier League stuff, all your international stuff, news, views, gossip, results, transfers, all that sort of stuff. If you don't want to worry about all that other stuff, there's actually a button on it. You can tailor it and just say, I just follow West Ham, and you'll only get the West Ham news. That's the OneFootball app. If you don't like it, unload it, upload, deload it, whatever it's called, you can do that. You can do anything. Right, Sebastien Haller. On the face of it, this is a David Moyes dream, isn't it? This guy. 6'3", 6'4", great at heading the ball. In fact, he's not only is he good at heading the ball. Do you remember the other day when I was talking about Thomas Souček, and I said about Souček that he had covered, his stats were that he had covered more ground since the restart than anybody else. Run more metres, run more yards, however you want to measure it. He's even run more millimetres than anyone else. I think it was the same in the Champions League. I think it was the same in the Euro qualifiers. His stats are very impressive for running around. Sebastien Haller's stats are impressive for heading. I can't remember what they are, but it was at some point this season he had won more aerial duels with his direct opponent than anybody else. Basically, if you're a central defender and you're going up for a header with Sebastien Haller, you're likely to lose out. Sebastien Haller is likely to win. He's very, very good at it. So with that in mind, well, this is a fantastic player for David Moyes, isn't it? We've already discussed that he seems to be looking to go in a certain way. Talk about Souček again, Antonio's headers. Of course, we got the guys coming up from the back. We've had Declan Rice crashing a header against the bar. Diop doing flick-ons. We know from Fellaini and Jagielka and all the other players that he likes his set plays. He likes to get the ball in. I do believe there was a stat with David Moyes when he was manager of Manchester United. I think on one of the games he managed, that is still the record now, that is the time a team had more crosses than anyone else in a game, was when David Moyes managed Manchester United. The Premier League record, at least. So with all that in mind, Sebastien Haller is a shoo-in, right? He's got to be a natural fit. And I do think David Moyes likes him. But something ain't right. Something ain't right at all. So when we had the lockdown, we had a couple of friendly matches. Were they against QPR and Crystal Palace? Sebastien Haller played in both of them. Scored in both of them, by the way. And looked to be nailed on. He then got an injury. There was a lot of rumour, a lot of supposition, a lot of nonsense that we weren't playing him so because if he played one more game, we had to pay more money to Frankfurt. Well, that doesn't matter. We haven't paid any money to Frankfurt. I joke. Apparently, we're still behind on our payment on him. By the way, or so I read last week. Allegedly. Got to put the allegedly in, of course. So, anyway, he should have played, but the injury stopped him, not for any monetary reasons. Mikel Antonio came in. Now, Mikel Antonio did a fantastic job, a wonderful job. But when Sebastien Haller was fit and available again, he didn't walk straight back into the team. You would say, nor should he. Why should he walk back into the team? Antonio was doing fantastically well. And I agree with you, for any of you that said that. Some of you might think he should have walked back into the team. But whilst I agree with you, it still brings up the problem, which is that is our record ever signing. Signed for 45 million quid, and he can't get in the team, or he couldn't get in the team. Now that's been and gone, but we've got to look at it, because really what this video is about is he going to feature next season? Is he going to be involved at all? Does Moyes see him as somebody to build the team around? And you'd better build the team around him, by the way, if you're going to do it. Because West Ham cannot afford to spend £45 million a player and not build the team around him. If you're a club of West Ham's size and you can afford to spend £45 million on a substitute, then something has gone wrong, or you've got more money than you thought. And we clearly know it's not the latter. So what's happened? What's gone on? Why does Moyes not trust him? Well, there is another mantra, which we know of David Moyes. So whilst David Moyes might like someone that can header, he's a natural finisher as well. He likes all that. We know this. The old mantra is, if you don't run, you don't play. And there is a suspicion, maybe, that Sebastien Haller doesn't quite run as much as he could or as much as he should. Now, I am mindful that whenever these sort of players come up, that they sort of have a languid gait about them. They maybe look like they're strolling along the park, and you may well see some stats that surprise you and show actually Sebastien Haller covered X, Y, and Z. Basically, more yardage than you thought he would have done. That being said, he still has that languid, sort of lazy look about him. That's sort of I can't be arsed look. And as I say, maybe I'm wrong, but I do think that that's played a large part. But it still feeds into it. If that's the case, then he's not going to play next season. If he's not going to play next season, then can we afford to have him around? Which then leads on to the question: can we afford to take a massive price cut on him? So if he costs 45 million, and let's be fair, we haven't really been able to afford all of that for reasons I mentioned, for repayment reasons that I've already mentioned. Are we going to sell him for 35 million? Would we get 35 million? His old coach, the one, not the last one, but the one that brought him into Frankfurt, is now manager of Monaco. Apparently Monaco are quite interested in him again. They can't afford him. If they come in for him, I have got a feeling there might be an insulting, cheeky loan bid. We can't afford to loan him. If we get rid of Sebastien Haller, we're going to need all the money to spend on somebody else, because that is a problem position for us. It's been a problem position for quite a while. And the fact that David Moyes has taken a winger in Antonio and turned him into a forward to get us out of this mess has shown that it's a problem position. It's not even a new problem position for David Moyes, because beforehand we were in a bit of a mess, and he converted a winger in Marko Arnautovic into a striker to get us out of the pickle that we were in. But it goes before that. And there's actually some parallels here, because somebody else I've already discussed in one of these videos is Chicharito, Javier Hernandez. He was a great striker. Is a great striker. But Moyes had a striker at his disposal. Did he use Chicharito to play up front to get us out of the relegation mire? No, he didn't. He used a winger. David Moyes, albeit apart from 2 or 3 games, has had Sebastien Haller available, certainly for the last 3 or 4 games. Has he used him? No, he's decided not to use a striker. He's decided to use the winger. Why? Well, I think the running is a major part of that. But I also think the way he seems to like his forward to play is to also not only work hard, but to drift wide. How many times in recent games have we seen Mikel Antonio drifting wide and then trying to dribble into the box or power his way into the box, or however he tries to get into the box? He will often take up wide positions. This is not something that Sebastien Haller is going to do, and if he does do it, he's not going to be particularly effective. You don't want him dribbling in there. Actually, he's a very, very good finisher. You want him in the box, just in the same as you wanted Chicharito in the box, but Chicharito was often played out wide. Now, I'm not saying that David Moyes always wants to convert a winger into a striker. I'm just merely saying that David Moyes clearly has qualities in his mind that he thinks a striker should have. But clearly, Sebastien Haller and Chicharito don't have those qualities. Weirdly, I think they'd make a really good partnership, those two. I think Sebastien Haller nodding it on or down with Chicharito, very, very close to him, I think it would be very, very potent partnership. Forget age and all the rest of it. But I just don't think that's how we're going to go with David Moyes. I don't know. This is a really, really hard one. A lot of the time I'm doing these videos, and I mean, we'll have to deal with a Jetty soon because he might be off to Celtic and so on and so forth. I don't know if you've seen it. I recorded a batch of these videos to start off with, and I can't remember what. I basically scheduled them for a number of days, so I went away for a few days. But I don't know if you've seen the Yarmolenko one yet at the point of recording this, but there's certain players like Jetty and Yarmolenko and Noble and a few others who I'm very sure of myself, I'm very sure of my opinion, I'm very sure what should happen with them within the context of West Ham next season, which is what the series is about. This is tough. I don't know. I keep second guessing myself. So I think, should we really discard somebody as talented as Haller is? And he is very talented. I've probably spent 10 minutes saying what he's not good at, and not so much, and about a minute saying what he is good at. But he's a very, very talented striker. But he played in a 3 at Frankfurt. He played with, what was his name? Jovic and Rebic. Maybe that was his name. But there was a 3, but they were not a 3 like a David Moyes has a 3. They were quite close together. So it's quite weird that we sign him and then play him, but Pellegrini play him in a 1. But he's got a hell of a lot of qualities. And you can understand why his former manager would want to take him take him to Monaco, because he probably feels that he can get the best out of him. He probably feels he knows what formation he would operate best in. And probably feels that he can get him scoring and get him involved and just put him in the right team, in the right formation, within the right framework. But this is a really, really tough one for all this, because there's another thing to consider, and it is the financial aspect of it, and I do think it's huge. And this is where David Sullivan comes into play. And I don't mean just because of his ego, because I do think ego's got to come into it. You invest, say if you consider yourself to be good with money, you invest 45 million in something, and then a year later, because I don't think we get 35, by the way, and I think we'd get more like 30. And I think if Monaco do come in, as I said, it may well be a cheeky loan, which you just can't do, because we need those assets to. If we sell Sebastien Haller, we need to replace Sebastien Haller in the problem position, right? So will your ego be able to take someone bidding 28 million? Or I know it sounds ridiculous, but don't rule it out. I don't think so. I don't think so. But it's not just the ego. Would the West Ham finances, from a football club that's struggling, would the West Ham balance sheet allow us to accept 28, 29, 30 million for somebody who just so recently was worth 45 million? No, I don't think they allow that either. So what's the answer for Sebastien Haller? Well, if Moyes keeps him, it cannot be as a bench player. Surely he cannot go and start next season by starting Antonio up front and Haller being on the bench. Maybe he reverts to what he was doing before lockdown, which was they played as a front 2, but they weren't really. It wasn't really 4-4-2, but you would say that Antonio and Haller were both attackers in David Moyes' system. Maybe it's that. But I can't help but go back to the fact that when it came to crunch time, Moyes didn't trust him. And if Moyes didn't trust him to throw him in there, Moyes had doubts. It's not like we've got some massive pre-season, by the way. I think they're going to have. I think the players are away for 3 weeks, and then what do they have? Another 3 weeks training or something like that? They've actually got no more training to come than they had before lockdown. So what's he going to do? Metamorphosise into a completely different player? No, I still think we have the problem. And again, as I say, he cannot be on the bench. Well, I really don't know what Moyes is going to do with this unless he plays the two up front. But to answer the question, and the question that really is in all of these videos, and the truth of the matter is, I don't know. So it's a hunch. I've got to take a punt. Is David Moyes, is Sebastien Haller going to be at West Ham next season? I wouldn't put a fiver on it. I might put 50 pence on it. But if I was going to bet my 50 pence, it would be that our record signing is still with West Ham next season. But I say that with no confidence at all.